This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Time to talk with Manny Navarro. Yes, sir. The boys getting ready for a little Vautech, and we won't be talking anything about the game. All right, let's get into it. It's true. It's so true, right? Yesterday, they had the meeting with all the players, the former players. I was invited to go, and I chose not to go because I didn't think it was like my place to be there anyways, not my thing. Plus, I don't know, maybe my honesty may not have gone well if they ever asked me to talk. Yeah, because, they have this thing where they would like a former player to be the AD. And, I'm just sorry. I've been around football for a long time, and it always seems to me like the people that run football, they kind of want to separate church and state. And they like to kind of keep players in their place. And usually those kind of people don't want to include them in that mix. And I just have a hard time believing. I believe the administration will listen to them and say thank you for your opinion, but I almost feel 1,000% that you won't be seeing Gino Torretta or somebody of that ilk become the athletic director of the University of Miami. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately they're going to try to get the best person who's going to be the complete package. And Gino is a businessman, right? He runs his own broadcast company. And Alonso has a lot of football personnel experience being in the NFL for 25 years plus already. I don't even know. It might be 30 years. But the point is, neither of those guys have ever run an athletic department. AC Tellison might be somebody who's more qualified. He's worked in the athletic department in the past. So I don't know. I don't know what kind of role, I know in the past they were discussing carving out a role for Alonso as maybe a football czar,
Right.
a guy who's just in charge of football. I could see something like that happening.
Okay.
But I think ultimately this is about getting the guy who's best for the job, who's going to handle all the responsibilities of fundraising, inject some life into the athletic program, and then do a good job hiring people and have good connections around, college sports and pro sports to be able to hire the right kind of people for this program.
Have you heard timeline? Because I would imagine that this has to be a fast timeline with so many schools in the mix for coaches.
Yeah.
Now I can't say a lot of schools in for ADs, but before you decide Manny's fate or replace Manny, you need to go get that man or woman to run this. So, what is the timeline? Have you heard? And I would imagine that this has to be, they got to have their list already working on it. In other words.
Yeah, I mean, all I've heard is that they're working swiftly to get this done, because in large part because they know the season ends in 2 weeks. The regular season ends in 2 weeks, and there's going to be a lot of action in the month of December with the coaching carousel and people moving around. And if you're going to really make a play for the home run, the quote unquote home run hire to replace Manny Diaz, then you need to already have that guy or girl, whoever it is, as athletic director, working behind the scenes with those agents and getting everything done, squared away. Talking about everything, demands of what that coach wants, what he expects. So I was told in the last conversation that I had was a couple days ago, was that they were working towards doing this swiftly. Now, could it carry until the end of the season? Yeah, I think so. I think there's a chance just because of, when they want to make the announcement, and how they kind of want to maybe pair things up with whatever other potential changes, come this way at the end of the season. So, they may already have that person selected. I don't know. I just know from the people that I've spoken to that they do want to act swiftly in light of, A, they don't want to lose a bunch of kids to the transfer portal. They want to give them some sort of understanding of what the next move is. And B, they want that athletic director to already be working with the next coach or whoever's going to take over.
Names? Do we know anything? Have you heard anything?
Well, I mean, all the ones that have been thrown out there. I know people are talking about Urich from Louisville. What's funny is I've actually heard that that's the same guy that maybe FIU wants, by the way. The guy from FAU.
Yeah, he's going to go somewhere where they don't have money for uniforms. Okay,
Right.
sure.
That's a whole nother ball of
Yeah,
wax.
I mean,
So
give me a break.
uh,
Yeah. At this
uh,
point, FIU needs to look for an AD that, maybe some old man drinking coffee in Versailles out there in Southwest Asia, something like that. They got no. I mean, give me a break, bro. You guys are. Wait a minute. You guys can't afford uniforms. You sure you can afford me? Yeah, that's what an athletic director is going to be
I,
saying. That's
not
nuts.
to get too into the weeds with FIU, but from my understanding, I've started to make some phone calls with that because the Athletic wanted me to, and I think there's a little bit of fibbing going on.
No,
Who knew?
Butch Davis
Who
lying.
knew? Who
No,
knew? Right?
wait a minute. Well, wait a minute. Butch Davis lying. Butch
Just fibbing,
Davis.
fibbing, fibbing. 20% truth.
But Butch Davis has no track record of lying. He's never really been a liar. He's been such an
No.
guy. And some Canes fans have him like the greatest X's and O's coach on the planet, that he could have been the savior for everything. Okay.
Yeah.
So when's that article coming out?
No. That's a project, man. There's so much to go unearth with that whole thing
There's so much
with
meat on the bone.
Pete Garcia and Butch
Yeah,
and
no, yeah, that forget about it, bro. That I gotta know what pictures Pete Garcia had over the years, because man, you talk about stealing money without a gun and a mask. Holy moly, Pete Garcia is the biggest scam artist ever, bro. That guy was a
I mean,
disaster.
let me tell you, last night it's funny how that guy has had nothing to do with for a long time, and yet his name still comes up with all the former Canes,
Right,
and it's funny. But
right.
anyway, to continue on Miami's athletic director job, the guy over at FAU, White, that his brother's the AD at Tennessee, he's another one that I think is probably in consideration. I know they mentioned Chun, who was at FAU before. I think he's at Washington State now. I think it's going to become a national search in some regard. Like they're not. It's not just going to be, hey, who's down the road at Boca Raton or who was there before. Like it has to be well thought out. I know that people have reached out to the administration and trying to get their name involved. So I still think it's very early in the stages in terms of interviewing everybody that they want to interview. But I think they are going to act swiftly.
Let's hope so. By the way, I worked with the equivalent of Pete Garcia in radio.
Who's that? Yeah. Name names, Big O.
I don't know. It sounds kind of like Kakayud. I don't know. It just kind of sounds like that. If you say
Right.
Kakayud enough, it kind of sounds like it. So yeah, I've worked with the equivalent of Pete Garcia in radio. Anyway, let's get into a little bit of Manny. What have you heard? Because what I don't want to hear is, well, we're gonna take a year to assess Manny and the staff and this and that, and I'm gonna lose my effing mind already at that point if you do that, because you're just wasting a year, and you just talked about the transfer portal, and it's gonna be an outright disaster, because if you take a year, then that means kids are gonna leave because they're gonna say, well, that guy's only here for a year, I'm out of here, and so it'll be a disaster in so many ways that I don't think they realize it. Besides being cheap, which has been the notorious line with you, well, are that's so what's going on with Manny right now?
Well, I mean, right now he's just trying to survive the season. I think I was told he would get a chance to finish the regular season, and then at that point, they will make another assessment. Based on how these last two games go and whether or not he coaches the bowl game and beyond. But I think even if he loses this weekend at Virginia Tech, I still think he'll be the coach the following week at Duke. At least that's my understanding of the situation, the way that they're handling it. So I think, look, you don't make the change with the athletic director if you're not intending to improve the overall state of the football program. That is what, you can talk about basketball, baseball, the women's sports. Football is what it's all about. And there's been enough people certainly upset, complaining about the situation, public embarrassment, where I think that I would be more surprised if Manny Diaz was still coach at the end of the season than if he is. You know, like like he isn't. I mean, I just think. I think at this point, you know, the cards are on the table, and they're going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to look for an improvement. Now, is that to say that?
Whoa, whoa. He muted. Wait. We don't hear you. 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 Your mic. There we go. Let's see. No. No. We don't see him. We don't hear him. We don't hear him. We can't hear him. His mic is off. I don't know. Mike, can't hear you. Can't hear you. Huh? Okay. Can you disconnect him and connect him and see if that helps him? I don't know. How we doing? Let's see. Say something, Manny. Is he hearing us, but we can't hear him? Is that what it is? He can hear us, but we can't hear him. No, we can't hear you, doggy. All right. Let's see. Let's see if we can hook you back up again. Try again. Let's see. Say something. He hears us, but we don't hear him, unfortunately. So we're still not hearing him. Okay, let's see. So what's he's got to disconnect and connect? Oh, he dropped her. Okay, that's right, because I'm looking at the screen, not live. See, when I'm in studio, I have the live screen to my right. So that's why usually when you catch me on interviews, I'm looking to my right because that's the live screen that I can see from my computer. When I'm on a remote, I don't have a live screen. I have what you guys have. I have YouTube in front of me, which is obviously several seconds behind. So I don't get to obviously hear things right live. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I see the video after a couple seconds later. So now we'll get Manny back on and we'll try to finish it. And yes, Dead Man Walking is right about right. Ruth Riley Hunter as AD. There you go. No opportunities in Florida for young people. State going underwater in the next 100 years. He is right about that. I think it won't even be 100 years, bro. I think it'll be 50 years. I think in 20 or 30 years, all of downtown Miami will be underwater. All right. Is he back? Because I heard the boop, boop, boop. Not connected yet? Okay. All right, we'll try to get Manny back on here and finish our interview with the man, the myth, the legend that is Manny Navarro. Please don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button. It is very important. Omar Kelly will join us in about 25 minutes at 12:15. So we got a lot of questions for Omar, especially about facial hair. So we'll have some fun with that. Okay. Florida is for hustlers. You ain't built like that, Danny. Young people do have to move out of the state and live somewhere else because their future homes. What you don't buy a home here for the next 50 years. Us old people, we don't got much left. Okay, that's different. But younger, yeah, you're probably better off moving somewhere away from the coast. Florida will be just fine in 100 years. The Bills will still have no Super Bowls. We got them now? All right, Manny. Let's see. Do we have you now?
There we go.
There we go.
I got an incoming call, and apparently it just knocks me off. So I don't know what happened there, but I apologize.
Tell those people not to call you when you're on. What the hell's wrong with them? Jeez.
I know.
God bless. They got to know priorities here. All right. So what were you saying there in the last when we were talking about Manny?
Just that I feel like it's not out of the realm of possibility that they go for the home run hires and don't get the guys that they want or don't get some of that cooperation. That hey, yes, we're really interested in the job, and I think there's still enough people in his corner that they could justify bringing him back. As far as people in the administration, people who like him at the University of Miami and trustees, etc. There are people who still like Manny Diaz.
What'd you feel about the Lane Kiffin report yesterday from Slater?
Not surprising. Jimmy Sexton, I think, is his agent. So, Jimmy's going to take advantage of all chatter to try to get his guy as much money as possible and create a bidding war.
So you're like me. You think the media member was used yesterday?
Well, I just think in general, like, I think he,
In other words, do you really think he'll take the job here?
I was told by somebody who knows Lane really well that he's been interested in the University of Miami since he was the offensive coordinator at USC. That he's always had a genuine interest of what if I went to Miami and that would be a job that would attract him because of what he knows, the recruiting base, etc. And the fact that he came to FAU and had success, um, the whole state tax, all that kind of stuff. I think there is interest on his part. Now, how much interest? Will he really leave the SEC? There's reasons for him to. I mean, he's never going to get past Alabama and Georgia. Like Mississippi, as good as they are, they're always going to have a ceiling that I don't think they can overcome there.
Saban will die. He eats Debbie's cookies every day.
Right,
So,
right. He could always pray for that.
Yeah, exactly. So he's much younger than so he's just got to hang in there. I mean, Father Time eventually catches up to Saban at one point. You know what I mean? The man's got to retire.
Sure,
You know what I
but
mean?
Lane, but Lane. I mean, what connections does he really have to Mississippi? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no. And I think, if he was really tied in there, if he went to Mississippi or he had some sort of strong bond, I could see him, not going. But
He's got no ties to Gables.
no, but the point is like he's left places before without really giving a crap. He did it to Tennessee, and it's just, to me, I think he looks at it as, well, where's the next hot place to go? And I think he sees more opportunity here.
I like Lane Kiffin. I just think he's using the media and used Andy in this case for this one. I don't think
Right.
I don't think he has any interest in leaving Ole Miss. I think he wants to use Ole Miss now to give him a new contract for this. That's what I think.
Well, he could. He could. I mean, look, that could always be it. But I do know from somebody who knows him well, who has said the Miami job has always been attractive to him. So,
sure. But is it still attractive when you're in the SEC and when you're in a school that will definitely provide anything and everything you need?
If Miami is really, again, and I told you guys this at the beginning of the month, I think when I had my conversations with the administration, if Miami's really serious about spending and investing, I think this job becomes a lot more attractive to quality coaches, because that's always been the hurdle, right? It's just They always act cheap.
Yes.
So if they're legitimately going to do it, then I think there's a lot of guys with big egos who think they can come here and be the big papi of South Beach.
Nothing wrong with doing that, bro. That would be fun. And knowing Lane, he wants to hit all the bars in South Beach too at the same time. Be a lot of fun. Right. All right, what are you working on the Athletics so folks can check you out?
Well, I'm just gonna write something off of last night's event. Sort of some of the highlights. They're gonna put together that video and release it next week. I think Tuesday is the day they're releasing it. So I know a lot of Miami fans love that stuff. They love the nostalgia. And I will say, that there's something about being around those guys, just like when the Dolphins greats get together, right? That you see the passion, how much those guys care. And it's kind of if you're a Miami fan and you're just depleted, inside from seeing this team struggle for so long, just hearing those guys and the passion they have and what they want for the program, it sort of fills your heart a little bit as a Miami fan, and I think it'll be a well-received video. I don't think, they tried their best not to badmouth people in that situation, but they also expressed that, hey, you know what? They want the sideline access back. And they basically got that cut away from them when Al Golden took over, in light of everything with Nevin Shapiro and everything else. So they want that opportunity to be back. And they each sort of talked about why, using different examples of times that older guys on the sideline would help them with stuff. And
but didn't Randy Shannon start that crap?
Randy Shannon didn't. I think he slowed it down, in terms of the amount of access.
Yeah, I thought
Al Golden, but Al Golden and the administration basically cut it off.
Yes.
Nevin Shapiro.
Yeah.
So
I remember Mr. No Personality started that stuff. Okay.
It started to slow down with him. The access started to slow down with him, but ultimately it was cut off by what happened with Al Golden and the administration then. And then, Blake James could have opened it back up Never really did. You know,
But when you have an insecure coach, you're not going to do that. And that's what Randy is. That's what Al Golden is.
well,
That's what
and,
Manny Diaz
and
is. These are insecure coaches, whereas secure coaches, they know what they are. They know they're great coaches, and they'll allow their former players to come back because they're passing on the knowledge they shared with them. So they feel comfortable that the synergy is there. The problem is the rest of these guys that came after, it's not their guys. So it kind of it's dude. You see it with Ed Reed. Like Ed Reed's there, and you're really not using him to the max that you can probably use him. And why? Because Manny doesn't want somebody that could possibly make more of an impact than him on the team. And I think his ego gets in the way of something like that too. I don't know. That's just me.
well, I think, look, in the long run, a lot of these guys just want to be connected. They just want to have conversations with the players. And I get it. You know, some of them are really critical on social media. We didn't have that, right? 15,
Right.
20 years ago.
True. Very true.
So
Very true.
the impact's a lot stronger now when they go off the rails and get pissed off. So I can understand why a coach wouldn't want those kind of guys around his players if they're going to be nothing but critical. So that's why it's sort of a fine line that these guys are trying to balance, because as much as they love the program, they hate what they're seeing, and they want it to just get better. So
follow him at The Athletic, please. Make sure you subscribe there and support him and all the great writers covering it locally, nationally, internationally, and a great deal, as always, at The Athletic. Manny, you're a stud, brother. Thank you for taking some time.
good talking to you.
You got it, baby. You're the best. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. That is your Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.